Dawson still with us. We continue to dissect this international break. We've spoken about the manager's job. Let's focus on the actual football now, shall we? What did you make of yesterday's performance? Did it right any of the wrongs from the game against Greece?
Well, I think I looked at the team selection, which was no surprise. Harry Kane fit, Jack Grealish fit. They come back into the team, and obviously Gomez coming in as well for another start, which I think we've got to mention him because I'll be honest, before Lee Carsey came into the manager's job, did I look at him? Did I see an awful lot of him in France? No, but I have done in the games that he started. I've been very impressed with him. He likes to get on the ball. I mean, and that pass for Jack's goal was incredible through the eye of a needle outside of his right boot, just in the path for Jack, and he slots it home nicely. So I think he's been a real positive, and it gives players hope because it's all about managers being in charge and then players getting that opportunity. And I think that's one thing I will say with Lee Carsley. He's opened the door to the younger players. Madawaki coming in. We've seen Gordon starting in 3 games out of the 4. So he's changed that slightly. But then when you go back to Jack and Harry Kane coming in, it made a difference. I was still concerned how many chances they gave away last night, but we're a lot more clinical in front of goal and the chances, which I would expect us to be. You've got to remember this is a Finland team. We should be going there, albeit away from home sometimes can be difficult, but we got the job done.
Yeah, maybe though. Yeah, are we highlighting the Angel Gomez pass because it was the exception that proved the norm? Because is it fair to say possession without an outcome is pointless, isn't it? Was there too much of that from England?
You can say that, but we have to be patient, Rob. It's no good turning the ball over all the time and Finland waiting for that transition. That's what they wanted, and at times they did hurt us. They had overloads. I mean, the opportunity in the first half where he's blazed it over, it's gone over to over Trent. He's knocked down. He has a touch and then shoots. These are big opportunities, and if these are at the other end, you would be saying England have to take them. So that was a worry. But I think when you go with Gomez and Declan Rice in front of the back 4, it gives Declan Rice an opportunity to run forward. We've seen 2 goals in 4 games for Declan Rice, and supposedly he's a holding midfielder. So he does give us an opportunity. I just think at times last night, players needed to run in behind. When I've talked about Harry Kane, players have to be clever. If he comes short, someone has to go in, whether it be Bellingham, whoever it may be, Jack coming from the left. So it's one of those when Palmer, we know, tends to not really want to run in behind. He gets on the ball, he's more creative, he can take players on. But it was job done because after the Greece performance, that will have hurt the England players. They come under scrutiny every minute of the day when they're away on England camp. We're all talking about. That's why I'm here today, Rob. Why else would you want to see me?
I always want to see you. That's the real reason.
Well, that's what it's all about: performing and getting it done. In the attacking third, we scored 3 goals, so that's a positive. But again, too many chances given away.
Okay, let's talk about Trent Alexander-Arnold. Absolutely brilliant free kick. Played at left back for the first time in his career. A lot of that time spent in the midfield during the game, wasn't it? What do you make of his role? Could you see him fulfilling that left back berth, or is that too much of an ask going forward?
Well, I look at the team in the 4 games that Lee's been in charge. Trent and Declan Rice are the only 2 players that have started all 4 games. So I think that shows how much he regards Trent Alexander-Arnold as a footballer. And we all know his delivery, his game management, the cleverness of the play. I mean, his free kick was brilliant. He can step in. Did I see him as a left back? No. And I think that's a position for England, certainly when it comes to tournament football, and we missed out in the summer with having an out-and-out left back. But Trent can slot in against these kind of teams and cause an overload in midfield, gives a midfielder a chance to move on, and I thought he did that. He's just an elegant football. He's a class act. His delivery, he's an unbelievable footballer, no doubt in that. But I'm not too sure if he's ever started 4 games on the bounce for England. I'm sure the stat guys will tell me he hasn't. because I can't remember it, but he's been given an opportunity under Lee Carsley, and he's certainly taking that.
Yeah, in this system, as you were saying, the fullbacks have that freedom to roam, whether that's in the midfield or to in a wider position. Both Gay and Stones don't mind actually going wide. Colwell as well doesn't mind going outside the 18-yard box to kind of cover those positions. They're used to it. But as a centre-back, if that was you, would you feel really exposed by what was in front of you?
Well, they move a lot better than I did, Rob, when I was playing. But I think that's the modern game now. As a centre half now, you have to be able to do everything. You have to be able to take the ball on the edge of the box. You have to be able to defend 1v1 in big spaces, and it's a challenge. So you're going to be exposed at times, and you're going to get hurt. And I think we did that against Greece. It was a tough challenge. But when you've got the pace of Kyle Walker, who came in last night, he covers everywhere. He just gives you more security, and it gives the left back an opportunity to step in. And last night it was Trent. Previously it's been Rico Lewis. So there's been different ways of playing, and there always is. But you have to look at the opposition you're playing against. And Finland made it difficult. Go to a back five, make it hard to break down. But when you get to the latter stages, and when they were losing 1-0 and then go 2-0 down, the game then gets stretched. Ollie Watkins comes on. The way he just does a step over, gets to the byline and pulls it back for Declan Rice, who joins in. It's all about game management and moments in the game where you can smell something, and that's when you've got to take your opportunity. And I thought England did that. Really disappointed for Dean Henderson last night coming in. He'll be disappointed they didn't get his clean sheet, but nothing he could do with that. So a positive night for him, and it was good to get back to winning ways, as I've said after Thursday night.
Yeah, hindsight is a wonderful gift, is it not? That's why I wear these glasses. Gives me 20/20 hindsight vision. But let's talk about Jack Grealish. Got the first goal of the game. He's been a player who Carsley obviously likes. He's impressed under him. Is there a sense in you that he could be a difference maker, and he could have been the difference at the Euros last summer?
I do believe that, and I think I was very open and spoke when that squad came. The experience of a 29-year-old Jack Grealish just being in and around the camp, even if he's one to come on or one to start, he would be no different. And I think we've seen he would have started against Greece had he been fit. In my opinion, we saw him in a different role in Lee Carsley's first two games, playing in the 10 position. He can play anywhere because he's an intelligent footballer. He's different to players that we've got in that area. I suppose we've had Gordon, who's come in, who's a runner and wants grass. Jack can take the ball. He can find a pass when teams sit deep, and then obviously he's had 2 goals as well in his 3 appearances under Lee Carsley. One against Ireland and one last night. So it was a great finish for him, and I'm a big fan of him. It took him time to settle in at Manchester City, but the year they won the treble, he was instrumental in them doing that. He really, really was. And last season, obviously, had an impact on him missing out in the Euros. But I would certainly have took Jack because he's got that X factor. He's got the quality, and he's got that character under big pressure moments to step up. He'll take the ball under pressure. He'll suck maybe 2 players in and then find a pass. He's a top player, and no surprise, Lee Carsley has had him in and around the squad and started him in games when he's been fit.
Yeah. Let's talk about a player who first there was a clamour and now there's a conundrum, and that's Cole Palmer. It started on the opposite wing. It was another quiet game for him. He's not played, though, to be fair to Cole Palmer, and I'm desperately trying to work this out for the good of him. He hasn't played in his best position, has he, in either of those 2 games? Is that what this is about?
Well, I would agree and disagree. I mean, we've seen him play in wide areas at Chelsea, probably not so much this season, but there was moments last year. We see him in a 10 position, he'll take the ball. And I think in moments, he's not going to be a 10 out of 10 every single week. That's just football. But I think the standards that he set at Chelsea, we're expecting him to be. So he goes and plays with England, and I said against Greece, he certainly didn't play in his best position. And I'm not too sure what position we were playing. Players were roaming, picking up different places. I thought everyone was coming short. There was too many bodies, nobody running in behind. but last night obviously playing out wide, trying to come inside. Do I like him as a 10 best? Yes. But Bellingham's played in there. You've got Foden who can play in there. Grealish played in there in Kaz's first 2 games. So we're blessed with attackers. And we've always said we've got to get everyone in there. Lee Kazi tried to do that and it didn't work. So, we look back to the golden generation when it maybe happened, when we had Scholes, Gerrard, Lampard. You've got to make decisions and put players in the right position for the right games, the right opposition, and try and make it work. But I'm a huge fan of Cole Palmer. Did we see enough of him in the Euros? No, not in my opinion, because he's a game changer, and he will be a game changer for many, many years. So he'll be probably a little bit disappointed in his performance, but that's because of the standards and performance he set at Chelsea.
Yeah, let's go back to that Greece game because it's interesting. Because you had Bellingham, who's actually playing back in a deeper role now for Real Madrid, and that's where he started his career, higher up the pitch. And Cole Palmer, who never plays really as deep as he was asked to against Greece, being asked to play in that position. Could you work out the thinking behind that one?
No, I couldn't. And like I said earlier, I've always been one to get 5 attackers on the pitch, but I think Bellingham could go alongside Declan Rice. And then you play with a number 9, whether that had been Watkins or Solanke, and Palmer in the 10. He went with Gordon and Saka out wide. So I was all for playing a 5, but I would have still played with an out-and-out number 9 and put Bellingham back with Rice. And I've still called that. I called it in the summer because if Bellingham steps in, Declan Rice then can hold. Rice goes forward, Bellingham stay. But I just think if you know you're in one of those 2 midfielders, you're the one in transition, you have to sprint back. Rather than thinking, is it going to be someone else? And we've got to go back to the times when Gareth was playing with a 4-3-3, and the 3 in midfield will be Declan Rice, Phillips, and maybe a Mason Mount or a Foden. But the 3 would then go into a 2, and one of them would go into a number 10 position. As soon as transition kicks in, they sprint back, and Calvin Phillips was the one who came back into 2 and was a defensive midfielder. So it's all about saying you're attacking minded, but as soon as you turn the ball over, you have to either win it back or get into shape.
You've touched on the fact of playing without a recognised number 9 in that game against Greece. Harry Kane obviously was back last night. Ollie Watkins coming on in both games. How will Solanke, Watkins be feeling now? And this sounds to many England fans like it's blasphemy, but is there a case now maybe that Watkins, with the impact he had when he came on, is showing more than Harry Kane in an England shirt?
Well, look, Harry's captain. He's never let the country down. He's never at club level scored goals. The proof's in the pudding. So Ollie Watkins, when he started for England, maybe hasn't done it, but when he comes on, he's a changer. He is, because I always think Ollie Watkins needs to play on the shoulder of a centre half, and I played against Ollie on a few occasions. And when he goes short, that's no problem from a defender. One, he's not going to hurt you there. He will hurt you when he runs behind, or he faces you up exactly like last night. Little step over, pull back, goal, because he's lightning pace and he gets in behind and causes and has opportunities. It was no different when he came on against Greece. The shot over the bar. That's what he does. But I would always start with Harry Kane and bring Ollie Watkins on. However, Ollie Watkins on Thursday night will have been devastated. And Solanke, because Harry Kane's injured. You think, it's got to be my opportunity. I'm going to play. And then the team sheet goes up and you're not in it. And you're thinking, we're not playing with an out-and-out number 9. I'm here and I'm still not getting the opportunity. So when the main man isn't there and you don't start, that's a real hurt for you.